Yeah, it looks like it's stalled out.
Yeah, should I try it again?
Oh, there it goes.
Try it again.
Oh.
Maybe not twice. Okay, I don't have this on. I just have it open, but I don't have it on. Okay, here we go. Everything's off. Okay. All right, Rachel, you can go ahead.
Okay, is the camera and mic on?
Oh. Wait, where's the camera?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. It's looking better and better. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience. A couple of announcements before we get started. Our novena prayers are coming up in 2 weeks. We're doing those monthly, and that'll be Thursday, 2 weeks. That's every third Thursday between 5:45 and 6 p.m. And as always, you can send prayers to us at prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org, and those will remain confidential, but will be read silently during the ceremony. So please send your prayers to us, and we'll include them in the novena. Sunday, May 16th, Heartwood will hold a refuge ceremony during Dharma. Sangha members who've already participated are welcome to participate again and repeat the 5 vows. Please wear white and bring a flower or an incense offering. We have a couple retreats coming up. Letting Go in 4 Stages with Martine Batchelor. That's an online Zoom retreat. That's May 15th. You can register on the Heartwood webpage. And then on May 24th to 31st, we have our first in-person retreat this year with, that's the Wild Heart Spring Retreat with Andrew Chapman and Reverend Mikey Knoll. Venerable Panawati continues to offer a study from the Mahayana Discourse on the Dharma related to the question, what is cultivation? And that happens on Fridays at 4 o'clock. Thrifty Treasures continues to do well. Our store here in Hendersonville. We do continue to need some volunteer support, and if you're interested in volunteering, you can email thriftytreasureswnc@gmail.com. Fully vaccinated Sangha members are now welcome to join us for Sunday Dharma here in the Dharma Hall at Heartwood, and we also have overflow available in the Bodhi Hall in the event that we need that. We continue to thank you, Heartwood continues to thank you for your donations and support, and if you'd like to donate, you can go to the Heartwood webpage and click on the donate button, and just please continue to like, follow, and share both Heartwood and Thrifty Treasures on social media. Thank you so much. Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you. tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, Sangha. And we're working with studying the dependent origination of Paticca Samuppada. That's a mouthful, and that should stay with you forever. What is this about except something very simple and very flowing, which is there is no personhood or there is no self involved in all that we see. All of our ups and downs in life have nothing at all to do with a person doing something to someone or myself doing something to someone. And it says that when there is a condition that's present, something can happen, not will happen, but can happen. And when that same condition is not present, then the presence of resultants of that condition being present cannot happen if it's not present. It's that simple. So most of you guys have been studying Buddhism for at least a day. And from the very beginning, what you hear from people who say they are sharers of the Dharma, well, I'll ask the question. Let's have a test. What causes the mic to fall? What happens? What causes suffering in our lives? What's the formula? What's the ingredients that causes suffering in our lives? Yeah, that's true. We got a finger.
Right.
But give me a little more. Flesh it out a little more.
I mean, it's not my suffering as in the suffering. It's the my part that causes the suffering.
Okay. Can you say it a different way?
Okay. My favorite way that was described about not self was when you were talking about in the Dharma hall, what's not present. Is there a tiger over here? Is there an ox over here? So having that, noticing what's not present was something that was helpful for me. So I noticed that if I have some pain, whether it's mental, emotional, physical suffering, it's because of my thought about what's happening. It's not about what's actually happening. My perception, my interpretation, my feeling.
Okay. What are you actually doing with those concepts? How are you involved with those concepts that you're talking about, that you're sharing? Nothing's wrong with them, they're good. But what is it that you're actually doing with those things?
I'm doing my best to take a deep breath when I get caught in emotion. That's what I've been working with for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to take a step back.
Would anyone else like to express? Yes, sir.
I always feel that dukkha is caused by some kind of holding, grasping, and in the end, that grasping and holding has to do with perception, that I think I need those things, when in reality, I don't. As I was telling my Bible study the other day, I'm always talking about one faith and the other venue, and to bring about some kind of wholeness to the concept. Although I think maybe my Christian brothers and sisters are getting tired of me talking about Dharma, and I'm wondering if my Dharma brothers and sisters are getting tired of me talking about Christianity. But I feel like dukkha is caused when one is not in the presence of God. That when the God self or the Buddha spirit is not at one with the overall Buddha spirit, that causes Dharma, or causes dukkha. That's, I don't know if that is a correct answer or not, but that's where I am now.
And you're sticking with it, right?
Yeah.
All right. There's no wrong answer. There's just some things, components that might be missing. It doesn't allow everyone to understand what it is you're sharing. And that's what I'm trying to coax from you. Your answer with enough meat on the bone that anyone who hears you speak will understand what it is that you're sharing and will understand the purpose of your sharing, right? Okay, so first of all, what's the purpose of sharing this morning? It's because we're trying to understand dependent origination. We're trying to understand conditionality. Okay, so now what condition are we expressing, or what condition does the Four Noble Truths express? What does it explain as present? Four Noble Truths. Everybody's heard of the Four Noble Truths, right? So what does that truth express?
Are we talking about like craving and aversion in response to the contact by the aggregates? That kind of response?
It tells us that there's suffering, right? And so what condition is present that creates or underlies the suffering that we say we feel in life?
Ignorance?
Well, that's true, but that doesn't cause the suffering. But it has to be present. It has to be a condition that's present in order for suffering to be present.
Is it the sense of self or separation?
Aye. There has to be craving, clinging, clutching, desiring, wanting for you to suffer. Ignorance can be present because ignorance of itself doesn't necessarily create suffering. It usually comes behind ignorance, but it doesn't necessarily cause it. But ignorance will condition the soil so that things will grow in it that will prick you on the side, like thorns or weeds. And why is it that we have this problem or this suffering, this discomfort, this tension when weeds grow in our garden or when thorns grow in our garden? Why do we have this uncomfortableness? And that's because we desire something different than what's present. What I want is not here. And I'm upset because you didn't serve that on my table. Yeah? What is missing? I need it, I'm clutching it, I'm grabbing for it. or what you have presented to me, I don't want, so I'm pushing it away. So we've got this pulling towards me or pushing things away, and we spend our lives doing that. Being unhappy or being happy, worrying about it going away, worrying about someone taking it from us, worrying about somebody stealing it from us, worrying that somebody's not going to bow to us. So, the Noble Truths say that we suffer because we cling and clutch. So therefore, if I don't want suffering in my life, it's not that I spend my day chasing suffering away. But what I do is spending my day being okay with the moment as it is. We talked about that before. What is present is present. It is what it is. The discomfort, the tension is created because I want something different. And I'm looking around, I'm searching for, I'm clutching or grabbing for what isn't present, which causes a tension, a dissatisfaction within me. When I understand that, when I abandon that behavior, there's no suffering. In spite of the fact that my exterior environment has not changed at all. I still have the same neighbors with the same dog. They still mow the grass at the same time when I'm meditating. But it doesn't cause me discomfort, tension. It doesn't cause me worry and desire. Right? Do you see the difference? Right? So, dependent origination, or Parchika Samuppada, is the study that allows us to see the component or see the intersection where I have started to grasp and cling. And this is the reason for my discomfort, not that there's something present, although that's a part of it. Not that there's somebody there for that might be a part of it. But it's still me that's causing my problem. And as long as we spend our time blaming the other, blaming someone else for our unhappiness, we can never solve our unhappiness because we're seeking or we're expressing our dissatisfaction to the wrong subject. No one can make us happy. Even when they do their best and try their best, they can't make us happy. That's why everyone disappoints us. They're trying. It's not that they don't care. But they're not the source of our happiness. Our happiness is, our source of happiness is our equanimity. Our ability to be okay with what is and what isn't. Realizing that this too will change. This too is going to go away. Something else will come in its state, because there is nothing permanent in existence. No conditionality. Conditionality will always change. When we understand it, when we know that, we will not try to put the world or reality on a timetable for us. You know, I want this right now. I want this in the next 5 minutes. I want you to change. Putting everything else on a clock doesn't work. It'll happen when it happens. And in the meantime, we look around and see the things that we can be appreciative of, that we can be okay with. You know, we can change our exercise and our relationship with everything else by establishing a practice that says, I don't always get what I want, but I always get what I need. Now, let me spend time looking at my reality so that I can find what I need and stop whining about what I don't have. There's always dog poo in the grass. But there's also roses on the bushes. It depends upon what I choose to look at. There's always beauty. And that's how we can understand the situation, by understanding that there's nothing and nobody that gives us our unhappiness. We give ourselves our unhappiness. Okay, got it? Work with it? Okay, great. This is a commentary by Buddhadasa. Buddhadasa is, in my opinion, one of the foremost exponents of dependent origination. And this is one of these booklets that you can order online or order from Taiwan, and it's free. And if they got one, they send it to you and ask you for donations, which if you have some extra coin lying around, send it, because they serve a great service to all of us around the world, all around the globe. I'm going to read to you some examples that Buddhadasa shared with us, and this will help you, I hope, it is my intention that this will help you understand this very complex teaching called dependent origination. I jest to the point of saying that it is simple, because it really isn't. Because even though it's clear, it's not clear to someone who doesn't understand it yet. So you have to spend time on it to develop your understanding of what the Buddha was sharing with us, and the key, the clue that he was giving us, so that we can liberate ourselves from our destructive behaviors and thinking and thoughts and grasping and clinging. Right? It says, the birth of the flow of dependent origination. Now, first of all, there's a teaching on dependent origination that is present in the Visuddhimagga. And the Visuddhimagga is a font of information on meditation. And in the Visuddhimagga, Buddhadasa describes the schematic of dependent origination as expressing 3 lifetimes: the past, the present, and the future. Well, this doesn't agree with what the Buddha taught. And when I say that, I'm saying that the Buddha never, I better not say that. Although it appears in some of the manuals of Buddhism that there is teachings on the word I don't want to use the word reincarnation. Yeah, rebirth linking consciousness. All right, thank you. Rebirth linking consciousness. And Buddhadasa picks up on this and talks about the wheel of Dharma turning through 3 lifetimes. But we have a lot of I won't say corruption because I don't know personally whether it was intentional or not. But I do know that Buddhadasa or Buddhadasa comes from the embryo of Brahmanism and reincarnation. And this is not what dependent origination is all about. It's expressing that what is happening to you is happening to you in this lifetime, in this moment. Because if it was happening in a future lifetime, how could you change it or work on it until you got to your future lifetime? Okay, see what you have to ask yourself? How can I be in a future lifetime changing things if I'm not in a future lifetime? All right, so when you encounter literature that speaks to you on that dynamic that says this is about 3 lifetimes, put that one on the shelf. You don't need to burn it. You don't need to throw it in the trash, but just put it on the shelf. It'll work for you later on. Or you will find information later on that will help you balance that out so you'll understand what that's all about. I'm giving you a heads up to this so that you won't go, well, yesterday I heard somebody talk about it this way, and then today I see somebody talking about it another way. I am so confused. What should I do? Well, what you should do is be aware of any suffering that's in your life and let go of the grasping and clinging that's causing it to happen. That's what you should do. All right, good. It says, a little child cries loudly because her doll is broken. When she sees the broken doll, there is contact between the eye and visual object, in this case, the form, the shape and color of the doll in a broken condition. At that moment, eye consciousness arises and knows that the doll is broken. Are you understanding what's going on? Okay, everybody understand? Okay, good. All right. As a matter of course, the child is filled with ignorance because she doesn't know anything about Dharma. When her doll breaks, her mind is filled with ignorance. Ignorance gives rise to volitional formations, a kind of power that gives rise to the idea or thought, which is consciousness. That which is called consciousness is seeing the broken doll and knowing that it is broken. This eye consciousness, because it depends on the eye seeing the broken doll, there is ignorance or no mindfulness at the moment because the child has no knowledge of Dharma. Because of this lack of mindfulness, there arises the power to give rise to consciousness, which sees form in a way that will be suffering, the broken doll. The meeting of the eye and the form and the consciousness that knows this all three together all three together called contact. So with eye consciousness arising, the doll being able to be seen and the little child being aware that it's broken causes sadness because she doesn't want it to be broken. So contact is made with eye contact arises when now eye contact arises in that girl. And if we are to be detailed, the contact gives rise to mentality, materiality, the girl's body and mind conditioned to experience suffering arise. Please understand that ordinarily our body and mind are not in a condition to express or to experience suffering. There must be ignorance or something to condition it to become receptive to the possibility of suffering. So, the condition of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Ignorance of the fact that when there's clinging and craving, there's suffering. Ignorance of that we don't understand that. And so we are thinking that the reason I'm suffering is because I see my doll, my horse, my toy, my relationship, my favorite stool, my favorite pen, my pot, my pan broken. And this causes me problems. Not the fact that it is broken, but the fact that I am clinging to the fact that I don't want it to be broken. I want it to be in tip-top shape because my grandmother gave it to me on my last birthday. Now she's dead, she can't give me another one, blah, 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 blah. Says, please understand that ordinarily our body and mind are not in a condition to experience suffering. There must be ignorance or something to condition it to become receptive to the possibility of suffering. And so it is said that the mind-body only now arises in this case. It means that ignorance conditions consciousness, and this consciousness helps the mind and body change and arise to action and become capable of experiencing suffering. In this kind of mind-body, at this moment, the sense bases arise which are also primed to experience suffering. They are not asleep, as is usually the case, so there will be perfected contact which is ready for suffering. Then arises Vedana, or feeling, which is unpleasant. Then this unpleasant feeling gives rise to grasping, the desire to follow the power of that unpleasantness. Next, attachment clings to the feeling as mine. This is where the I concept arises, which is called becoming. When this blossoms, finally, it is called birth. Then there is suffering in seeing the broken doll. There is crying. That's what is known as tribulation, which means extreme frustration. Now about the birth, it has the wide range of meaning, which includes such things as aging and death. If there were no ignorance, there would not arise the belief that the doll is broke, or that the doll died, or some other belief. But now suffering has arisen fully because there arose attachment to self, my doll. When the doll broke, there was incorrect action because of ignorance, and so the girl cried. Crying is a symptom of completed suffering. The end of dependent origination has been reached. Okay, so you see that in that process, all of these things have happened, but there was no individual that was there that caused it or created that. It was conditions that were present. And so what does the study of the Four Noble Truths help us understand? That with suffering, with clinging and grasping, suffering occurs. With the relinquishing of clinging and grasping, suffering goes away. So what we can do is spend our time, well, here's an example. Here's something that everyone should be familiar with. Forever, it seems, because I've been living forever, it feels like it when I wake up in the morning, that we've been told, or I'll put the question up, what do our friends tell us when they notice that we're angry?
Calm down.
How?
Breathing. Taking a break.
Well, our friends, if they're Buddhists, tell us that. But what about the ordinary friend? What does the ordinary friend tell us?
Self-control.
Don't be angry.
Or it's not that serious.
Too complex. No, easy. This is simple. This is not difficult.
So calm down.
Don't be angry.
No, because I'm angry. How can you just tell me don't be angry? No. But they tell you how not to be angry. What do they tell you?
To calm down?
How do they tell you to calm down?
Don't get upset.
How do they tell you that?
Regina online is saying count to 10 and breathe. Maybe our
Oh,
friend.
there it is. There it is.
Count to 10 or breathe.
There it is. It tells you to take a deep breath and count to 10. Right? Don't you remember that? A friend will share that with you. Take a deep breath and count. What have you done when you do that? You've taken your mind off of all of the stuff you cling to that has made you suffer, made you unhappy, made you sad. And you put your attention on something else. I mean, that's what you've done. The grandmothers and mothers who used to share with us how to get over our anger didn't understand what they were sharing with us, but they were sharing with us the process of putting our attention on something other than what we were grasping and clinging to, which is causing us so much unhappiness. And as soon as we did that, everything was fine. After we counted to 10. Breathe and count. Meditation. Taking your minds off of what is causing your suffering and your problem. Yeah, see that? Dependent origination. If I'm not paying attention to this, if I'm paying attention to something different, I will not suffer, even though this condition is present. Yeah? Make sense? So it's not the condition that's causing my problem. I am causing my problem. And just as we know through the wisdom of our grandmothers is when we are causing our problem, we can solve it. We don't have to continue to suffer. We don't have to continue to be in a state of tension, in a state of unhappiness, waiting for someone else to do something different so we can become happy again. I don't have to wait for you. I don't have to wait for you to make a transformation. I can just put my attention on something else. Dependent origination. Another example of that's eye contact. There's a young male student who fails his final exam. He may end up fainting or going to bed at night crying. I don't know who does that when they fail an exam. I'd have been crying every day. It wasn't important. Well, that was because I wasn't attached to it. How does this happen? The student goes to where the exam results are posted and either doesn't see his name listed as passing or sees his name listed as failing. He eyes the posted results with his eyes. Those posted lists have a meaning. They are not merely form. The lists are meaningful forms which tell him something he wants to know. When his eyes perceive the list, a kind of eye consciousness arises that gives rise to mind-body, that is, his body and mind, which were in a state of normalcy, suddenly change character. They are now primed to give rise to sense bases in contact which can lead to suffering. The sense bases in their normal condition are not characterized by suffering. But when they are mixed with ignorance, these sense bases will work in a way to help suffering arise. There will be contact, feeling, and so on, and all the way up to the attachment of the I concept, I fail. The student falls down in a faint at the moment the eyes perceive the list. Now this sounds a little juvenile here, but remember, we've got students who commit suicide. They just don't faint over the fact that they failed a test. They go out and commit suicide because they feel they've disappointed their parents or their mentor or someone about that. So this is some serious stuff. But the fact is, when we understand the Four Noble Truths, we understand dependent origination, then we take all of the power, all of the wind out of dependent origination. We understand it. So with ignorance as condition, once we take the ignorance out of it, the whole process, the whole sequence no longer has any influence and power over us. So all of the things that occur subsequent to ignorance and formations and grasping and clinging don't happen to us because we know better. And because it doesn't happen to us, we don't perform the negative acts on our body being and on our relationships that we used to do in the past. That is, blaming someone else because we're unhappy. Putting that burden. I know all of you are aware of the burden of someone depending on you to make them happy. Because everyone's been in that situation. And it's hard to do because they change their minds every day. Because what they realize is that the request they made yesterday about, well, if you just do this, I'll be happy. Well, you do that and they're still not happy, which makes them doubly frustrated because they don't understand. And it makes the person doubly frustrated because they don't understand that the person still isn't happy and they've done what the person asked them to do. It's tough when you allow yourself to be put in that kind of cage. Because it's a no-win situation. But when you understand the Four Noble Truths and dependent origination, you can sit down with your partner, your friend, and say, now let me tell you how this works. And tell them all about Buddhadasa, Buddhadasa. And by the time they'll never ask you to change it. Okay, so there you go. Example 2, the young man looks at the list, falls out in despair and sadness because he failed his test. Waking up thinking about, what am I going to tell my mom about this? They spent thousands of dollars for my college education. Third example. Suppose a young lady sees her boyfriend walking along with another woman or another man. When in the space of a brief moment she becomes so enraged that it is just as if she's had passed through 10 hells, so burned up is she, and all this because she saw her boyfriend walking together with another woman. So you see how stuff occurs in life that influences us to feel tremendously pressured by the moment. And it's nothing. It's nothing. So don't allow circumstance to push you into dark spaces and dark corners. When all you have to do, and it's as simple as taking a deep breath and counting to 10.
Venerable,
I'm listening.
there's a question online, if you could repeat the name of the book you were just reading from.
Paticca Samuppada. Okay, spell it. Paticcasamuppada.
So I got P-A-T-I.
No, P-A-T-I.
Yeah, T-I.
C-C-A-S-A-M-U-P-P-A-D-A.
Oh, okay, someone had already put it in here too, okay. But you said it's called teaching,
I'm sorry.
the beginning of that, before that word?
Paticca Samuppada.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Paticca Samuppada.
No, what was it? Okay.
You heard teaching because it's a part of the word paticca, teacher.
So it's just that word, there's nothing else? Okay.
Oh, no teaching in the title.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, this is the reason why in a lot of the teachings of the Buddha, he expresses his teaching this way. This comes from Sutta 26. I consider this Dharma that I have attained is profound, hard to see and hard to understand. Peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning. Subtle to be experienced by the wise. Now here's our key again. First of all, it's difficult. Because Ananda went to the Buddha one time and said, oh, this stuff is simple. He said, no, don't say that. I got a test for you. Don't say that. He said, but this generation Now let's hear ourselves in that. This generation delights in attachment, takes delight in attachment, rejoices in attachment. We're just always grabbing on the stuff, saying this is mine, this is mine, this is me, this I am. We're always grabbing stuff, laying claim on stuff, building fences, stuff that don't even belong to us, countries. People came over here in boats and ships, both wanting to and not wanting to. And the first thing they did was build fences. The natives of this country didn't have no fences. The earth belonged to everybody. The plains, the lakes, the rivers, the gold, the oil belonged to everybody. It says, it is hard for such a generation, for a group of people or one person who has so much clinging and craving and desire in their hearts. It's hard for you guys, if you're going to keep on holding on to that, to be happy. No matter what you get. People get 2 cars, they want 3. People get 2 homes, they want 1 at the beach. People have 2 partners, they want 3. It's hard for such a generation to see this truth, namely specific conditionality, dependent origination. And it is hard to see this truth, namely the distilling of all formations, the relinquishing of all acquisitions, the destruction of craving, passion, cessation, nirvana. In other words, what we've been talking about for the last hour, if you want to be at peace, if you want to be still, then you got to stop clutching stuff. You got to stop wanting stuff. You know, people, let's see, how do I want to say this? Don't try not to allow people to put you in a box where your only way out is scratching and clawing and hustling and grabbing and holding on to stuff. Don't let anybody plant in you the fear of you won't have enough. You know, that you better hoard and you better grab on to what you can get. Because it's going to be gone away. It's not going to be enough for everybody. I saw an interview of a survivalist, and he was talking about the fact that he had just bought 10 more guns. And the interviewer asked him, well, did you get the guns so that if people, you know, in the age of famine, in the age of lack, did you get these guns so you could defend your, you know, food and protect your home from others? He said, no, I bought the guns to come and get your food. Grabbing and clinging. Don't let your body, don't let your mind, don't let your heart be put in a box. You will always have enough. There will always be someone that will share. Now, some people think that's about karma. In other words, if you share your stuff, if you give a piece of your cake away, if you fix a bologna sandwich with the other guy, That means that when you need one, they'll fix one for you. No, what it'll mean is that when you come to the point where you don't have, where it can be defined as lack, you won't be bothered by it. If you don't have it, well, that just means I have to fast today. It must be what it means. I don't have it, so I can't eat it, so I'll fast. I'm not worried about it. Something will come tomorrow. And remember, tomorrow is just a condition. It's a condition, and I know that all conditionality will change. What I'm experiencing today, I will not experience tomorrow. What I don't have today, I will have tomorrow. No rush, no emergency. That's just the way it works. Okay. Any questions?
Venerable, how is that different from detachment?
How is it different from detachment?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. If you don't have any sense of, I've got to have this today, then you have a detachment from the object that you are in spatial relationship with, whether it be a person or whether it be a piece of cake or whether it be a bologna sandwich. Doesn't matter. If I got it, this is what we're talking about. If I got it, if it's there, if it's been offered to me, then I'll sit down and share it. I'll cut it in half and give you half. But if I don't have it, well, we don't have it, so that's that. Maybe it'll come tomorrow. Maybe I'm supposed to fast. Maybe I'm supposed to eat peaches instead of bologna. I don't know. But I'm not attached to what I think I'm supposed to have. So I'm detached from grasping and clinging.
Regina has something to share. Regina?
Oh, okay.
She's on.
Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for today's beautiful. My question is, when I hear take a deep breath and count to 10, I feel like that's something I can totally do, and I will, and I am doing it. When I read these treatises on dependent origination, when the object meets the sense organ, I can't even really repeat it. And I am wondering whether somebody like you, Venerable, can really follow this path in your perceptions. Like, does it become ever so clear that you really can experience what the people write about, like how this chain goes? Thank you.
You have to be a part of the team to make it work and have the experience. Remember, in the Majjhima Nikaya, in the sutta that we read from, it said, it is not done by mere reasoning. I can't just think about this stuff and somehow have an experience, right? I've got to put it into practice in my day. And once you put it into practice, you will then experience the words. You will experience, say, the freedom from tension in that day, or in that experience where you can say to yourself, you know, I used to get mad when they said this to me, or I used to get mad when they did this to me. I used to get fearful when they did such and such a thing to me. But now it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with it. I just realize that it's their crazy stuff. But I wouldn't be able to know that unless I was practicing what it was that I was talking about. That I was infusing my experience with the Dharma, and then I would have the personal awareness that comes with living with the Dharma, living with the truth of the Dharma. And I can say to myself, I counted to 10, I held my breath, and it worked. Or I worked the schematic of dependent origination, and I didn't fall out because I failed my test. Or I didn't cry because my doll was broken. Or I didn't cry because my grandmother died. Because I know that this teaching tells me that I can't hold on to anything, I can't grasp anything, including life. That everyone has to experience death. That everyone will come and everyone will go because we're conditioned. Then I stop crying about things that I am asking for that is unreasonable because it goes against the laws of reality. And so I stop. I stop being a child in a grown-up world. I start acting grown up. So your growth, your change, your acceptance comes by understanding this is the truth of this life. This is the truth of this experience. This is the truth of this relationship. And when I know it's the truth of it because I'm living it and experiencing it, then I have no inclination to ask for it to be different. I accept it as truth, I accept it as Dharma, and I keep on moving in it. And I'm okay with it. Do you understand what we're talking about? Yes? Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Sometimes we wonder whether you guys have gone to sleep out there in virtual land. So thank you for the question. All right. Anyone else?
Sister Clear Grace is here, and she said, "Thank you, Venerable."
You're welcome. Or she's welcome.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Yes.
It seems like the refocusing away from the clinging by taking in a deep breath and taking a moment and not holding and clinging to that thing that you've been upset about is a wonderful method. It seems like there's a next step needed at some point where you need to understand that there was no reason to be upset in the first place.
No. That's what
Okay.
makes it so simple. Remember, we're talking about dependent origination. We're talking about when this is present, this happens. But we're also saying when this isn't present, this doesn't happen. So in other words, I don't have to get rid of this and this too. I just get rid of this and this goes away. I get rid of this and this goes away. Dependent origination. Without this, this won't happen. Without ignorance, this won't happen. Without grasping, this won't happen. I don't have to get rid of the grasping and get rid of the problem too, the warts or whatever might be coming up on my forehead. One thing does not exist without the other. There's no codependent arising. That's the secret. That's the clue. That's the clarity right there. When I stop grasping, the suffering that I'm experiencing for grasping goes away too. I don't have to perform that second because that's dependent on this to be. When this isn't, that isn't. Got it?
I'm trying to.
Okay, we'll keep working with it. I'm trying to also. So we'll keep doing it together, right? We'll keep reminding ourselves every day, hey, you working on that stuff today? Yes, I am. Okay, see you later. All right, everybody's good? All right. Well then, may all beings be liberated from suffering. May we be well. May we be happy. May we be peaceful. May no harm come to us, no difficulties come to us, no problems come to us. May we always enjoy the benefits of love, life, and friendship. Thank you so much, all of you, for all that you do. And I thank my technicians over there on the soundboard. Right, give them a shout out. They work hard at this. Thank all you guys in virtual land.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Venerable Panadipa.
You're very welcome. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
I hope.
Thank you.